Crisis on Infinite Earths, Part 3. The trilogy is concluded. We have reached the end of the crisis. And it's your boy Icon with another DC animated movie TV review for you. And before we get started, hit that notification bell, like and or subscribe to my YouTube channel. And let's get it started talking a little crisis or ending a little crisis because a lot happened. A lot happened. And I'm going to try my best to simplify this as much as possible because there's a lot to cover, a lot of reveals, a lot of twists from like other things, and in the end it was also very heartwarming at the end, and but also sad at the same time. Anyway, so let's just get right into it. As I hit that notification bell, subscribe to my channel. So now it took place where the last one, where part 2 ended, where the Anti-Monitor had showed up and he was attacking the Justice League. They were all standing there, and he was just like, oh, I'll obliterate this entire planet. Remember, Supergirl had killed the Monitor, and I guess like when every single time a world, so quote-unquote, got destroyed, they weren't exactly like destroyed. They were transported to a different pocket dimension. I forgot what they called it. It was like the blood zone or something, like the blood spot or something. They were transported to like another pocket dimension that existed outside of space and time. All of them were there. All the worlds were there. Every single world was occupying that space. All the suns were occupying that space, all the different worlds. So now we're doing a little bit of world hopping. They found Diana in that space because she was the Diana that tried to save the world of Amazons, who foolishly thought that they could save their world without the help of men, and then they all perished. But because Wonder Woman's immortal, which they kept pumping into our brain throughout the entire movie, when the planet got destroyed and they got taken to that, to that pocket dimension space, Wonder Woman was actually the only person from that planet who survived. So she was just floating in outer space. Superman and Hawkgirl and them, they found her, they brought her back, and then they were just like, thank the gods, like, you're okay, Diana. So then on Earth 2 that Batman was on with the Bat family, he was there. He was trying to, like, they were fighting some Nazis because time is also moving. Because they said that while they're in this specific pocket dimension, with all these different Earths that are surrounding, space and time is like collapsing in on itself. And different things have, like dinosaurs were showing up, like Nazis were showing up at one point. There was a group of Nazi soldiers that came in to the Bat Earth, and they actually went into the police department. They found all the Rogue's weapons. They were trying to use the Rogue's weapons. So Batman and the fam, they went out there, they started kicking ass and stopping the Nazis. One of them had sprayed fear toxin into Batman's face, and then he started going through like the whole fear thing with the Scarecrow fear toxin. And while he was hallucinating, he saw Barry, an old ass Barry Allen, telling him to go back to the beginning, because this was the Batman that was in the Warworld movie. And when he was in Warworld and both him, Diana, and Clark were going through their 3 different scenarios, he was the one, because I do remember that because I did a review for the Warworld movie. There was a moment where some old geezer walked up to Bruce and said something to Bruce, but it was so long I forgot what he said, but that's apparently what he said. He told him to go back to the beginning. So Bruce was like, oh shit, that was Barry. So then he goes back to the Watchtower to tell everybody. Then we go to the Legion of Doom. And that was a nice touch. Mark Hamill was still voicing the Joker. We do the Legion of Doom, and I didn't think we was going to get the Legion of Doom. So it's like Lex Luthor, like the whole gang, they're all standing there. And then Lex is just like, oh, like while the world is basically like collapsing in on itself, Lex is just there. And he's chilling with the villains. And then he's just like, oh, he's like, we're not going to get involved. And then they're just like, oh, so do you have a plan? And he was like, of course, I'm Lex Luthor. I have a backup plan. And then he goes into another room. And then that's when the Psycho Pirate was there, and he was being tortured by Lex Luthor. And I don't know how Lex even got him to torture him, but then Lex was just like, oh, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to arrange a meeting with me and somebody else. The somebody else, I don't know exactly who the somebody else was, but then Lex shows up on the Watchtower. The somebody else was the Anti-Monitor, because I forgot Psycho Pirate had sold them out, and Psycho Pirate was working with the Anti-Monitor. So Lex actually had a conversation with the Anti-Monitor. Batman showed up, and he was talking to Dr. Fate, because he said that we need to find a way to go back to the beginning, because he said that there's something that can fix all this, something that we could do to save everything. So then that's when Jon Stewart came in, and he was like, well, I met like this old weird wizard guy, and he said he was around before it all started, since the dawn of time. And then he said his name was John Constantine. So Batman used his detective skills to find John Constantine. They find him down at an old Western bar. They kick ass, they take names, they end up snatching up Constantine, and now Batman, along with Constantine, they're trying to help him remember. So Constantine was just like, yeah, he said, I do remember some things, but I don't remember everything. And then he was like, if you saw the Flash, he said that we can use your Flash memories to try to figure out what the Flash is trying to tell you as far as going back to the beginning. And then Constantine remembered he also shares those memories that the Flash shares. And then, because he said that he was actually with Barry when it happened. So they do a seance where they're all sitting around the table, and then he used his magical power to take them back to the finale of Justice League, Justice League Apocalypse War, like the whole like big thing where like the world died because of Darkseid. So it's the end scene where everybody who survived is there, and then Constantine and both Batman, they're watching this. And then he sees the moment, because this is the exact same Constantine that told Barry to go back in time and fix it. So then when Batman saw that, they added some stuff, because there was a scene where when he said to Barry, he was like, you know what you have to do, mate. He was like, you got to reboot it all. There was a moment where Constantine took a piece of himself, a piece of his soul, which was poisoned, and he attached it to Barry. Now, we all thought when that happened, when he told Barry and he was like, oh, you know what you got to do, mate, we thought he was going back in time to unsave his mother, because the reason why the whole Justice League Apocalypse War thing happened was because Barry saved his mother, and because of that, that brought Darkseid to our world. So Barry was like, oh, we caused it. So when he ran away, and then all of a sudden the white light came in to restart the universe, we all assumed he went back and stopped himself from saving his mother. Apparently, that's not what happened. We find out that what actually happened when Constantine said, you know what you got to do, he was basically talking about him killing Darkseid before Darkseid gets a chance to kill their world. But he knew Barry wouldn't have the cojones to kill Darkseid because he's a good guy at heart. So Constantine attached a poisonous magic spell to Barry. And when Barry was on Apocalypse, and because he went back in time to when Darkseid was first born, and when Barry was running through, like all throughout Apocalypse, everybody around him was just like dropping dead, like all the parademons, like all the wizards, everybody was just dying. And then when Barry got to the point where he saw a baby Darkseid, Batman, and again, Batman and Constantine, they're still watching this because he has the memory. Batman said, he was like, well, there's no way Barry's going to kill Darkseid, even if he's going to destroy the world. Barry wouldn't kill a child. And then he was like, of course he's not going to kill a child, mate. He's like, I knew that. He's like, which is why I attached this poison spell to him. So Barry doesn't actually have to kill him. All he has to do is just be in the room. And because he was in the room, that poison magic spell that Constantine had placed on Barry, it fumigated, it permeated the room. And then when Barry was like, you know what, I can't do it, I can't kill him, and then Barry left, the essence of the poison was still in the room, and it got into baby Darkseid. He was vulnerable. He started bleeding from the nose, and then baby Darkseid died. And then that's how, like the Earth got rebooted, which brought, but they were saying that Darkseid is actually a fixed point in time where Darkseid's supposed to be there. He's always supposed to be there because he's what keeps the demons at bay. And without a Darkseid, that allowed the Anti-Monitor to actually pry on their world. So they're just like, shit, this whole thing's all connected. So now they're just like, well, now we got to do something. It's like we got to do something to try to stop it. But in the meantime, while they were doing that, while Batman and Constantine was doing that whole thing, the Anti-Monitor was popping up out of nowhere killing worlds. And while he was killing worlds, that's when everybody realized the reason why because he wasn't supposed to be able to find them in the pocket dimension. But the reason why they found him was because Lex had made a deal with him where Lex said, I'll tell you where all the other Earths are so you can destroy them if you promise to leave my world alone, which was also him lying just to get the Anti-Monitor on his side so he can study the Anti-Monitor and figure out how to kill him. And what he came up with was, he said that because he's Anti-Matter, only light can destroy him. He said, but the sun, the power of the sun can kill him. But they were like, oh, one sun isn't enough. But he was like, yeah, but there's 52 suns that are here occupying this space. So he said that if somebody who can absorb sunlight, absorbs the power of 25 suns, that would be enough to kill the Anti-Monitor. Then everybody started looking at Superman. And then that's when Lois got mad and she was like, you son of a bitch. She was like, even in the end of the world, you still try to figure out a way to kill Superman. But the Superman was like, no, he was like, it actually makes sense. He said, because he said that, my sacrifice to save many, he said, that's worth it. And he said, I'll do it. So then he ends up going to fly into all the suns so he can absorb the power of all the suns. And before he was able to do it, Kara got up because she felt guilty because since she killed the Monitor, she feels like she's the one responsible for everything that happened. She was even talking to Barbara about it, and then Barbara was trying to make her feel better. But then Kara beat Clark to the punch, and she flew into the sun instead and started absorbing its energy. Clark tried to stop her. They were just like, no, just let her be, because when the Monitor showed up again, they were trying to fight him. Then while they were trying to fight the Monitor, the War World showed up, and then that's when Martian Manhunter showed up because he was occupying the War World from the War World movie, and I was like, wow, I forgot all about that. So Martian Manhunter's here now. And then even then, there was a moment where they were trying to use like light-based energy to stop them, and then they had pointed to the Green Lantern, and then he was just like, oh, well, I'm just one Green Lantern, I can't do anything. And then somebody was like, oh, we have 4 unidentified flying objects. And when the 4 unidentified flying objects came and presented themselves in front of John Stewart, not only was it members of the Green Lantern and the Blue Lantern Corps, it was Razor and Aya from Green Lantern, the animated series. And I almost shed a tear when I saw that, because we saw the end of the Green Lantern animated series when he was flying in outer space trying to find Aya. Then on Young Justice, we saw a continuation of it where Razor was still trying to find Aya, and he had the power of both the Red Lanterns and the Blue Lanterns. Now, Razor comes back. He's strictly wearing Blue Lantern energy and Blue Lantern power, but Aya was actually with him. And I was like, thank you, because you guys finally gave us an ending. You gave us an ending to that. So now we know Razor eventually found Aya. And the other members of the Green Lantern Corps that were there, they said, oh, we're here because thanks to your sacrifice and your hard work and dedication, these rings presented themselves to us just like you wanted. And I was like, shit, he's the Green Lantern from the John Stewart Green Lantern movie. Because at the end of the movie, when he had to kill Hal Jordan, he took the remaining Green Lantern rings and sent them off into outer space and said, hey, go find people who are worthy. So they paid that off as well. So like, I'm fucking with y'all now because y'all doing some cool shit. Like, I honestly forgot all about that. So now they gave him a power, they gave John Stewart a power ring, and they lit it up, and now John Stewart is back, baby, in Brightest Day and in Blackest Night. So now they're all trying to take down the Anti-Monitor. One of the things that they did to try to take down the Anti-Monitor, they ended up using the Psycho Pirate because since he has the power to like feel and project people's emotions, they did the thing where they said that the War World operates off of like human emotion and human energy. So they convinced him, they were just like, hey, if you can use your power to tap into the emotions of everybody who's occupying the space, it'll generate enough power to where we can fire a beam at the Anti-Monitor and we can do him some damage. So the Psycho Pirate did it. He used his power. Everybody lit the War World up. The War World fired at him. It fired right through his chest and blew a hole through his chest because he was wearing armor, and that beam got through the armor. But once he got through the armor and blew the hole in his chest, a 25 sun-powered Supergirl came out of nowhere. She flew into the hole that was in his body, and then she released the energy. She blew the Anti-Monitor to Kingdom Come, and then that's when everybody was like, shit, Kara dead. And then we had like the classic scene where Superman was carrying her and he was like, no, and everything, you know, but Kara dead and the Anti-Monitor's dead. They're just like, hey, we did it. We saved the world. But aha, I say thee nay. Other Anti-Monitors from other different realities were showing up. So now there's like a gang of them. And they're just, and that's the point where everybody's like, fuck it, yo, there's nothing else we could do. Like, we can't do nothing else. And then they're just like, no, they said that there is a way, like there's a way to beat them. And then that's when Barbara had mentioned the machine because Supergirl told Barbara her entire Legionnaire story. And she said that the machine that they used allowed them to create any reality that they wanted. That was the machine that, you know, like Mon-El was trying to use at the end of the movie. So, but she said that they took the machine. They said that machine, it's like, they said that we can't save our world. We will, because Constantine even said, he was like, I do know how to save us, mate, but you're not going to like it. He said, by using that machine, we can't save our universe, but we can create a new one with a new timeline, with a new story, with new beginnings. And what's going to happen is the 52 different versions of all of us is just going to fold and collapse into one person. And it's just going to be one Earth with one occupied space. They said that the machine can create this. We just have to find it. So J'onn J'onzz and a girl named Nightshade ended up using their collective power to find the machine that was hidden in a pocket dimension. They brought the machine back. And then when they brought the machine back, that's when everybody was just like, okay, how do we get the machine to turn on? And then they said that the machine basically needs a sacrifice because if the machine is going to create basically a new world, like a new universe, like a new galaxy, it needs a significant sacrifice in order to spend that much energy and create this world for us. And then that's when we got the whole thing where while they were trying to figure out who's going to make the ultimate sacrifice, other Earths were disappearing all across the multiverse. They gave each Earth like different numbers. A lot of the numbers, I didn't know what the number reference stood for. The only one I knew was when they said Earth 2003, which was the Teen Titans universe, because we saw Titans Tower disappear in the Teen Titans universe. And then this is the part that like hurt. Like we saw We saw the Batman animated series, the Superman animated series, the Justice League Unlimited. We got a glimpse into that universe. And this is where we got the final performance, the final words of Kevin Conroy. And when Conroy was doing the Batman voice for the last time, he was in Gotham. He was fighting the Joker, so him and Mark Hamill got to share the stage for the last time. And then the Joker had said to him, he was just like, "Oh, it's the end of the world, Bats, and you're here worried about me." He's like, "I'm flattered that you'd spend the end of the world with me." And then he was just like, "It's not about you, Joker." He was like, "It's about Gotham." He's like, "I love Gotham. And if this is the end, I'm going to go out the way I wanted to go out, being Batman." And then he punched Joker in the face, and then the Earth disappeared. And then right before the Earth disappeared, they couldn't just let that one go. Like, it was bad enough that we got the final performance of Kevin Conroy talking to the Joker, saying it would have been dope if he was like, "I am Batman," but he was like, "I'm gonna go out being Batman," which is how Conroy went out, which is also sad. It's like, I couldn't just leave it there and just let our heartstrings like just leave there. You took us to the Watchtower, and then in the Watchtower you had the Justice League Unlimited, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Flash, Martian Manhunter on the Watchtower. And before the Watchtower disappeared, John Stewart and Hawkgirl kissed each other before we lost. And I'm like, y'all just blew up my childhood. You just erased my entire childhood. That one hurt. Like, out of all the different Earths that were lost, like, that one, that hurt. Like, that one legitimately hurt. But c'est la vie. It's officially over. My childhood is officially over. We're moving on into the new generation of superheroes, because Mark Hamill's he's not voicing the Joker anymore either, so we lost both of them in Crisis. God rest Conroy, because he was truly the GOAT, and he was truly is Batman. So then after that, then in the end, Wonder Woman, she was just like, "You know what? I'm going to be the one to make the sacrifice." We've been saying this entire Crisis series that I'm a god, I'm a demigod, I'm immortal, I can't die, I can't do this, I can't do that. So she said, what a way to offer the ultimate sacrifice to this machine to create a new world than by offering the machine the life of someone who can't die. And then Superman was against it because, he was in love with her, but she was just like, no, because she said this will actually make my life worth something. So she sacrificed herself to the machine, because it created a portal and it showed them the new world. So all they had to do was just jump into the portal, and a new version of them, like if all 7 Supermans jump in the portal, they're all going to merge and make one Superman, but that one Superman will have the essence of all 7 of them. So, and the Superman that was dating Diana, the one from the War World, he even said, no, that wasn't the one from the War World. The Superman that was dating Diana, he even said that, he said, "Will I remember anything, or will I know anything?" Then Constantine was like, "No, you're not going to know anything." And then the Spectre showed up. Constantine was like, "You're not going to know anything, but a part of you will exist in the new Superman." And then he was like, "That's all I needed to know," and he jumped in the portal. And then once Superman did it, everybody else did it. So everybody started jumping in the portal. Lex jumped in the portal, like the Bat family jumped in the portal. Everybody went in the portal. And then Batman was the last person to jump in the portal. He said goodbye to his his daughter, the Huntress, and then he said, "It took me the end of the world to open up to people." And he's like, "I wonder if I'll be that way in the new world." And everybody's like, "Probably not." So he jumped in the portal. And then the last 2 people were Constantine and the Spectre. And then the Spectre, I guess the Spectre, he just exists everywhere. So he didn't go through the portal. And Constantine didn't go through the portal either, because I guess he figured, he was like, shit, he's like, I done did enough. He's like, I'm done with it. But Constantine, he followed the Spectre, and then, I guess they threw Kara in there too, so there could be a new Supergirl, but everybody gone. And then, the Earth, the Anti-Monitors destroyed that Earth, that reality. And now everybody lives in a new reality that the Anti-Monitor can't get his hands on. And then that was it. So I assume that's the James Gunn universe now. So everybody was headed towards the Gunverse, and we got a small after scene where a child Wonder Woman was talking to Hippolyta, and then then Hippolyta was like, "Oh, be careful, my daughter, because remember, you may be immortal, but you're not, immortal," or something. She said some shit like that to her. But that was how the film ended. And then even even the Psycho Pirate, when everyone was gone and everybody went into the portal, He was, because again, he has the power where he can feel everyone's emotions, all human emotion. When he went in the portal, when everybody went in the portal, Psycho Pirate was like, "Oh, thank God!" Like the pain, like the talking, like the pain. He said, "It's finally quiet." He said, like, "I can feel." And then he died and he disappeared too. So yeah, that was how it ended. And thank you for tuning in. We're officially headed into the Gunverse now because literally everything that we knew before is dead. Literally, like everything is dead. I will say this though. The one thing that was not represented in this universe that died was the Young Justice universe. There were no signs of Young Justice or Young Justice characters, thank God. So that means, although we've lost the Batman animated series, Justice League Unlimited, Superman animated series, Justice League universe, although we lost the Teen Titans universe, we still didn't lose the Young Justice universe. So I pray to God that James Gunn greenlights the 5th and final season of Young Justice so we can keep that shit going. But share your questions, comments, and our concerns down below. Because I said, we basically just wiped the board clean. And it's a full-on reboot now, but we're here to talk about it. We're here to keep doing it. And when the Gunn universe comes out, we're going to review all that shit too. And I hope to share that all with you. So I said, so check out my other videos because I have the season finale of Suicide Squad Isekai. We're still doing that Batman Cape Crusader. We're still doing that Kite Man. And like I said, we got other stuff. I still got Cobra Kai up on my channel and other things coming up as well, especially me going to Anime NYC next Friday. So that was it, guys. So thank you for tuning in, for watching all part 3 versions of my reviews for Crisis on Infinite Earth. I look forward to seeing you all in the new world, in the new multiverse. Maybe I'll be a new icon, maybe I won't. But until then, we're out this bitch.